Welcome to Excel 2010 Business Math video number 15. Hey, if you want to download this workbook, Excel 2010 Business Math Chapter 1, click on the link below the video. Hey, in this video, we got to talk about solving word and application problems. Now, without a doubt, a lot of people that take math classes don't like math. They don't think they're very good at math. And this is the thing that scares them the most, word and application problems. But I'm going to show you a trick to take a seemingly complicated word problem and at least make it a little bit easier than you would normally think. Now, in the textbook, they have 4 or 5 steps. I just have 3 steps, and you're going to have these are the steps we're going to use, especially when we get to a test. Now, here it is. Word problem. Step 1, list all relevant facts and numbers with proper labels. That means you read the problem, and it says, like we sold 2 boomerangs at $10 each. 2 boomerangs, the number of boomerangs is 2, the price is 10. Those are relevant facts. So you list those in the spreadsheet with proper labels. And you state the goal of the problem, right? Step 2, you set up the problem, solve using efficient Excel features, and then check or double check in some cases. So you check your answer before you make some conclusion. And finally, you will always have to answer your question with a written statement. Even if it's a simple word problem like calculating profit or something, you have to say, okay, the profit is such and such. All right, so those are the 3 steps. Now also in the textbook, they have a table that shows you how to translate words into math symbols. Now, almost always, you're given either a written statement or there's something online or a verbal statement, and it uses words. And you have to translate those into math symbols. Now, here's a column for adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, equal, and powers. These are some of the common words. So adding, plus, more than, added to, increase, sum, total, a bunch of different words. Subtract, less, subtract, subtracted from. Difference is the one you often hear, right? Fewer, decreased by, minus, take away. So those are all different words that mean subtraction. Literally, the word difference literally translates into a subtraction operator, math operator, right? Sum, plus, total all translate into the plus symbol. For multiply, product, double, triple, times, of, twice as much. Those all mean multiply. Division, divided by, divided into, quotient goes into divided, divided equally, and per, right? Miles per hour. That's division. Anytime you see per, it means division. Equal, is, are the most common. The same as, equals, equal to, yields, resultant. Probably equals and equals to is just as common as is and are. And then powers, squared, raised to the second power. That would be a 2. To the second power is parallel to double, right? Double means multiply, only you take the number and multiply it by 2. Raised to the second power means you take the number and you raise it to the second power, which means caret 2. Cubed, that means 3, and to the 12th power. All right, now, let's take these 3 steps and look at our first problem. So I'm going to click on the sheet, Word 1. Now, I'm setting this first problem up. I'm going to give you 2 examples in this chapter. Actually, we'll do word problems in every single chapter going through the textbook, and we have at least 10 or 11 or 12 chapters. But when it comes to a test, I'm going to give you approximately or almost exactly instructions like this, and then you'll have to set it up exactly like we do here. So this will be good practice. So using the 3 steps for solving word problems, list all facts and goal, set up and solve using efficient Excel features, and answer with a written statement, right? Use the cells below to list facts and make calculations, and put your written answer in A28. So on a test, I'm going to say, hey, you have to write your answer in a particular cell, right? So there's A28. All right, here's the question. If you sell 5 quad boomerangs for $32 each, and the cost for each was $17.75, and you sell 2 Carlota boomerangs for $22 each, and the cost for each was $13, what was the total profit that you made? Now, you get a problem like this, there are lots of parts to this that we have to consider. And here's the trick. The whole trick to making word problems easier is to list. You start at the beginning of the written statement and go through slowly. And every time you see a detail, you just write it into the spreadsheet. So I'm going to read slowly. If you sell 5 quad boomerangs. So right there, the number of quad boomerangs sold is 5. So I'm going to put number quad sold. Tab is 5. Now that's some sort of auto format feature picking up from here. I'm going to show you a great trick on the home. Because if I hit delete on the keyboard, that deletes the content. Control Z is undo. So I really need to get rid of the formatting. Now I could go up to the fill bucket, and actually there's a no fill. But if there's a bunch of formatting, and you want to get rid of all the formatting but keep the content, you just go over to the home ribbon, editing, and there's an eraser. And you simply say, clear all. That would do formatting and content. There it is. I remember when I first found this button, I was like, finally, I know how to wipe away all the formatting. So, all right. 5 quad boomerangs sold for $32 each. Oh, OK, so there's more information about the quad, right? So sell price of quad. Tab 32. Enter. OK, and the cost for each was $17.75. OK, so here's the third bit of information about the quad. So it's cost of quad. Now, this is a beginning business math class. A lot of times people get confused with price and cost. And the confusion comes because people use those words loosely. However, that's why I put sell price. That means the money coming into the business. This cost means this is how much the business paid for it, right? So $17.75. All right, so we're always going to use cost. That means how much the business paid for it, right? Sell price will be how much we charge the customer, right? So we charge the customer $32, but we paid $17.75. So the difference between those will give us the profit, or the gross profit. All right, let's keep reading. And you sell 2 Carlota boomerangs. All right, immediately I have another piece of information. Number of Carlota sold, and it's 2. Enter. Sell 2 Carlota boomerangs for $22. OK, so now we have the sell price. Now, let me do that again. Watch this. That is called autocomplete, and sometimes it's totally annoying. But I'm going to take advantage of it here. It says sell price of the quad, so I'm just going to come to the quad and double-click the quad and type Carlota. Got to watch out for that auto fill. You can actually turn it off under options here if it's totally annoying. All right, now I see that the A is kind of hanging over, so I'm going to come up here between A and B and just drag like that with that. That's the change the column width cursor. All right, and so the price is 22. That's how much we charge the customer. Finally, the cost of each was the OK, so and I'm going to do the same trick. Cost of quad, double-click quad. We played 13. That's it, right? No, there's one other thing. You always want to write the goal. So goal, colon. And what is the goal? What was the total profit you made? So find total profit. Now, there are some people that can just look at this and do it in their head instantly, right? I mean, can see the whole thing and just go over to some calculator. And even if this is an easy problem to do, which it's probably not for a lot of us, the fact that we methodically went through and listed every detail, including what our goal was, that's the trick, right? It's time consuming, but if you start here in this class and continue to do it throughout your life, you will be able to conquer any written set of instructions that require some calculating. All right, now that's step 1. List all the relevant facts, numbers, labels, and the goal. Don't forget to do that on the test, please. All right, now step 2. Set up and solve using Excel features. Now, there's actually a bunch of ways we could do this. We could figure the difference between these, just one boomerang, and multiply, that would tell me the profit for one boomerang, and then multiply it by 5. We could find the total, meaning this times 5 and this times 5, and then subtract them and see how much total profit we had for the quad. And there's still other ways. Now I'm going to pick one of those ways. I'm just going to total up how much we sold first. All right. Now I want you to notice something. We've methodically listed everything here. If you want, you can retype everything here. But we don't have to. We were careful. We put all of our labels and our numbers, did everything correctly. If you want to repeat anything, and this is the golden rule of spreadsheets, you list something one time, and any time you use it, whether it's a number or a label, anytime you use it somewhere else in the spreadsheet, you use a formula. So I'm going to say equal number of quads. Now what happens, I'm going to Control Enter. And actually, let me put this in edit mode. That's a relative cell reference. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cells above me. What happens if I Control Enter and copy it over, and then click in this cell and hit F2? That's still a relative cell reference. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Absolutely amazing. And guess what? When I copy it down and then over, each one of those is exactly 9 cells above. So once you get the hang of this, right? I know most of us are brand new to this. Watch this. You click there, Control Enter, drag it down, and with both of these cells selected, then point to your fill handle and drag it over. Now I'm going to say type a word here, total. And actually, I'm going to stay with a convention that we start in this class. Normally, if this, I wouldn't do this if I had a job out there in the working world. But I'm going to use our convention. Green cells have formulas. All right, total. I'm going to put revenue, because revenue is the word we use for money coming into the business for quad. Right? And then here's straight multiply. Notice we can just equals up arrow times up arrow, up arrow. Notice we don't have to round because there's no decimals there. All right, now the next one, remember I want to figure out the total revenue, and that's only some of it. So I'm going to do the same trick here because I need number of Carlotas and selling price. So equals number of Carlotas, Control Enter, copy it down, copy it over, and just to keep with that convention, I'm going to go boop, boop. Total, and notice it says revenue, so I'm going to double click this and type Carlota. And then I'm going to come up here. Equals up arrow times up arrow, enter. Ooh, that's so annoying. We should go turn that off. And I'm going to say no fill. All right, now I'm going to type total revenue. Now, why didn't, I mentioned autocomplete. Why didn't it do it this time? And the reason why is there's not a unique item up here that has total. So it says total revenue quad and total revenue Carlota. So autocomplete doesn't know which one you want. So that's why that doesn't happen this time. All right, and then what's this? Now, remember our rule about adding, we always use the sum function, except for when the cells are not next to each other. Then by all means, just use that or the sum with a comma. That's also got some formula in it, so I'm going to go like that. All right, now, ooh, look at this. We don't have enough room left here. So I got to show you how to insert rows. Now, actually, we've already done this one time in class. But this time, I want to insert a bunch. Check this out. You can point to 25, click, and drag down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows highlighted. Right-click, insert, and that will insert 5 rows. Now, it brings the formatting down, and this little thing right here is awesome. It's called a smart tag. And you click on it and say, clear the formatting. That was new in Excel 2002, those smart tags. All right, now let's do, we need cost of quad and cost of Carlota. So I'm going to say equals cost of quad, enter, equals cost of Carlota, enter. Now, notice that has a little c there. I'm actually going to come up and change that. And watch what's so cool about this. This will illustrate. So I'm editing it, and I'm going to type a big C. This is the label, and we're looking at that label down here. When I hit Enter, it corrects down here because it's a formula. Now, here's cost of Carlota, and right there is the 13. So if this formula is looking there, when I drag the formula over, it'll look at the 13. I can highlight both of these and drag it over. Now I want total cost. Actually, why don't we do it this way? We'll do that same little trick we did before, how we had a total for one and a total for the other. But here, I've listed these both on top of each other, and I don't really want that. I want a little row here. So I'm going to do that same trick. I'm going to right-click Insert. Because here I'm going to put total cost of quad. All right, so each quad cost us $17. And how many did we sell? 5. OK, so that's a formula. And actually, well, all of this is going to be, that one's a formula, so is this one. And this one's going to be one, too. So I'm going to go like this. All right, that was total for the quad. Let's do total cost for actually probably should be an S here. All right, so equals, OK, total cost. Well, how much did we pay for the Carlota? 13 times number of Carlota sold, 2. OK, so there's our total revenue. In fact, I like to have borders all around here. I'm going to go like that. We have our total overall revenue. Now we need to do our total overall cost. So total cost equals, oh, well, that one, that's the total cost of the Carlotas plus total cost of the quads. Now I'm going to add some green to that cell. Now we have our total cost and our total revenue. I'm actually going to highlight this and add some bold there, Control B, just because Control B, those are the kind of 2 overall numbers I was trying to get. Revenue. So I didn't spell revenue there. I'm a terrible speller and typer. I probably still didn't get it right. I'm going to F7. That's a keyboard shortcut for spell check. All right. Now, what was our goal? Total profit. Total profit. Remember, the word profit is a synonym for earnings or net income. So it's always going to earnings, profit, net income are always going to be revenue. Total revenues minus total cost. Or you might see total expenses here. So all right. Oh, subtraction. A straight, hey, here's our total revenue minus our total cost. All right, now let's go up and look, find, does it say profit? Yeah, profit that you made. So let's not put earnings here. And really, all we have here is the actual sell price for a quad, for example, and then the, so up here in our raw data, all we have is for each boomerang is the actual sell price and then the cost we paid. There's actually not other expenses that the business might have, right? Overhead or wage expense or truck expense. So really, the problem says profit, but later we'll see the technical term for that. Just the sell price minus the cost of the item is actually cost of goods sold. You might see this, cost of goods sold, COGS. All right, so this is a formula here. I'm going to put that, put a line there, and maybe I'll even get fancy here and do a border. The bottom line number that you're calculating, Control 1. This is Format Cells, Control 1 to open it, and you might be on any particular tab here. You want to be on borders. I want to say that some dark one on the top and a double line on the bottom. All right, not required for word problems, but that was our ultimate goal. And so that usually a double line means this is the bottom line. Now we need to put this in words. So the way you can approach this is just go up and look at the words here. It says, what was the total profit that you made? So we can just say the total profit we made was our answer. So literally steal the nouns and the verbs from the original problem and reuse those in your answers. Now, on a test, I actually will have a bunch of cells with a color, and I'm going to say click in a particular cell like A34, and then you type your answer. And I want to show you what kind of formatting I'm going to use in those cells. So I'm actually going to format it in this video. So if on the test you're not like confused when you see it. I'm going to highlight from A34 to H34. And I'm going to Control 1. That's Format Cells. The other way to get to it is right there. Control 1. And I'm going to go to Alignment. Now I want to center the words. And I'm not going to use Merge and Center. I'm going to use under Alignment, Text Alignment, Horizontal, all the way near the bottom. It says Center Across Selection. And then I'm going to wrap text. I could have just used that, but I'm already here, so why not use that? I'm going to go to Border. I'm going to notice we already have some lines there. And I don't want any of them there. I want to start over. So there's a None button. Outline. That means just around the outside. So if you were to look over here, all the lines inside are not going to get lines. Just around the outside. I'm going to say Fill. And I'm always going to use this color. So the answer cell will look like that. Now the reason why I show you this is because watch. If I like this, it looks like it's right here, but it's not. It really is in cell A34. In fact, you can see up here it says A34. There's a orange and an orange right there. But because we said Center Across Selection, boom, that's what's going to happen. And it will automatically wrap. So for some of the word problems, you may have a couple lines to write. And so when you click in the cell, you just keep writing, 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 and it will automatically wrap. All right, so the total profit. I'm going to get fancy here. Right, the total profit that we made was, that would be fine. Blah, 89.25. But now I'm going to say the total profit that we made after selling 5 quads and 2 Carlota. Quad and Carlota boomerangs was, and then $89.25. And let me just show you, what if I were to have something more here? You can see that it automatically wraps. And when you hit Enter, boom. Now, actually, let me get rid of this here. F2, that puts it your cell in edit mode and puts the cursor at the end and just. And actually, I do want to clean this up a little bit. You know, that's a label. That's a label. That's a formula. So I wasn't paying attention as I did this. So these two right here, I'm going to add some green just to keep consistent. And all of these are labels. This one is green. This one is green. Now, I'd like to come over and instead of just leaving these numbers like this, I'd like to add some number formatting. This is clearly number of quads sold, so that's an integer, but this is clearly a dollar amount. And actually, everything's a dollar amount except for that and that. So I'd like to highlight non-contiguous cells, and the way you do that is you click in one cell, and then before clicking in the other cell that's not next to it, not next to that previously selected cell, I hold Control. And that way I can highlight areas not next to each other. So I'm going to highlight those two. I'm moving my mouse. I haven't held Control yet. I'm going to hold Control and click and drag. And now I'm going to do Control-Shift-4 for currency. Now the last thing I'd like to do is I'd like to check, double check, right? Because if I'm in charge of the spreadsheet, I want to make sure that I get it right. All right, so we mentioned this earlier. If I subtract the price minus the cost, that'll give me the profit for one, boom, and then I can multiply it by that. And then similarly, I could do that here also. So I'm actually going to get all of these values and put them down here. Equals that cell, Control-Enter. Drag it down 6 times. One more, I think that's one more, 1, 2, that's right. And then over 1. All right, so I got all that information from there. Let's do some Control-Shift-4. And now I'm in a single cell. I'm going to build a big formula. Actually, I'll go like this. This is all green. And I'm going to type total profit. There's always many different ways to make a calculation. Now, this is going to be more a complicated formula than all this. This is kind of the step-by-step process, which is good to do. But here I'm going to use a little thinking here. So I'm going to go equals. And I know I need to subtract these two to get the single quad boomerang profit. But if I subtract and then multiply, the multiplication would be first. So I'm going to open parentheses. Sell price minus cost, close parentheses, times that. That's just the profit for the quads. Well, I need to add that, so I'm going to add. And then open parentheses. Oh, the next boomerang, price minus cost, close parentheses, times the 2. Now, watch this. This is beautiful. This is the order of operations in action. That multiplication symbol will be done way before that plus, right? So everything works fine. These will be done first because parentheses first, then multiplying, then adding. Enter. And there you go. So we get the same answer. So this is like our check. Now I'm actually going to highlight this, and there's the move cursor. Drag it down to. Notice when you move a formula with a cell reference, actually move it. It's not the same as copying. So no matter where I move a formula, it doesn't change. It's not like when you copy a formula. Moving, it retains the fidelity or the of the original formula. All right, I'm going to move this over here. And I'm going to type check. All right. So there we go. There's our first word problem, how to 1, 2, 3 steps. And in our next video, we'll have a second word problem. All right, see you next video.